mistake. Oh well. I'm going to start and stop. I messed up. Everything got messed up. Hold on. I'll be right back. Don't leave. Whatever you do, don't leave. Crap. Nah, never mind. I'm going to leave it. We're going with it. Inside, I've been waiting for your face to reappear. Make it all seem clear. Inside, I've been stalling through these voices in my head that tell me everything I do is wrong. So tell me, show me, listen to me, feel me inside. Listen, tell me, show me what it means. Inside, I've been thinking that you've taken far too long to open up my world. Inside, I've been thinking that you've taken far too long to open up my world from within. Well, was messed up. But anyway, so I wasn't going to do anything. Oh, man. So, can I explain what happened here? So, I realized that I started the stream, but the text for the stream, not on the screen here, but on YouTube and all that, is showing that it's like last week's stream because I have to update the titles, but I can't do that without stopping the thing. So I can do it later. But it could mean that many people won't know that I'm live tonight. I think that's what it means. Oh, man. Oh, well. So as of right now, I see 4 people. There's more on Facebook and all that, but it's just funny how it looks. I'm going to go with it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Well, that's good. It's good that it still says live. Crap. Well, what I could do is just stop and start all over again. But I don't know that I want to do that. So, anyway, let me turn this off because it'll just keep going forever because it's programmed to do that. And if you don't believe me, watch. Now it's just going to repeat these. Well, I guess I can leave them on all night and then just have them in the background. That would be fun. But anyway. Well, maybe I will. So. I was kidding. I won't do that. How are you? Oh, man. It's good to have you back. It's good to be back. It feels like I've been gone for a long time, even though it's been a week. And that's because, yes, it does sound like punk. But it's because, I've been in the studio a lot this week, and even the topics for tonight, everything's open because, quite honestly, there is no prearranged thing. Although I tried to get some ideas down about certain things that I was going to talk about, and I kind of have it here. And of course, we have an NFT for the evening. We have all kinds of good, cool stuff happening. But at the same time, it's been a busy week, and I'm sure it's been a busy week for all of you. It's very different than it was when the pandemic was going on and we were all like stuck inside, isn't it? And then we had no choice but to introspect the entire week, and then we'd show up on this thing together. And it would be like I was locked up all the time anyway, so I could really formulate what thoughts I would have about this thing, whatever it is. So, hi Claudio, hi David, hi Jim, hi Hank, Wendy, Alfonso. Who else do I've got? Emilio in the house, yes. Ira, Lawrence, Scott, Lalo, Lorenita, Vic20. Hey, Greg, what's up? Ariel. So it's cool. I can see that. Here, I'll just show you because it's just funny. I can see the chat now from a distance because the font's bigger. So I can actually read them and not lose my mind and not have to wear glasses and squint at the screen. So that's kind of cool. I don't know why I never thought of this before, but I think it was funny. But I see it isn't quite working, is it? Let's see. I can make it slightly smaller. Oh, man. Oh, well. It'll have to do. So, at any rate, yeah, I've been in the studio. I've been recording, editing. I did backing vocals last week. All those are done. I've been doing mix downs. I've been keeping up with the mix downs. If you follow me on my blog, which is linked from anythingbox.com, and it's Buy Me Coffee. It's my Buy Me Coffee page, but it's basically my blog. And I've been posting updates to every song and what I've been doing with them. And I might play you some snippets of that tonight, but I'm not playing the full songs because obviously I want to keep an air of mystery around this thing. But for those of you not in the know, I've got an EP that I'm working on. It's called Abandoned Works A. And it's basically like stuff that should have come out, stuff that was in our set, things that we play, things that are out on maybe demos, but never released. Just 5 songs. It was going to be 6, and I'm going to play one of the ones that didn't quite, it didn't work for me. I couldn't make it work. But there are 6 or 7 tracks total now. But yeah, it's like Amelia says, great news, new old stuff. It is new old stuff. It's been a strange journey working on this stuff, to be honest. And I'll share some thoughts on that as we go along. But just to be funny or whatever, I thought I would play something, and then I wound up writing, which always happens when I'm on the stream, which I'm not kidding. I approach it with this idea that I'm doing the screen thing. I'm setting up all the tracks I'm going to play. And I'm like, well, tonight I have nothing, so I'm not going to write any. I don't have anything to like play, so I'm not going to do any live thing. And then I'm waiting for the time to go by. I can hear you, Evie. So, there I am, just waiting for the time. And then I realized that, lo and behold, I write stuff. So I think I may need to do some weird streams where I'm just like having writing sessions and just open up a stream or something. I don't know. Let me fix this compressor because it's driving me crazy. It's being too aggressive. So yeah. So it's been a strange thing. So it's kind of nice to approach the keyboard today, and thanks to you guys, because if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have touched the stuff today, because it's very different approaching mix downs as opposed to, I want to write something. And so when I've dedicated the week to mix downs, things are very different in this house. Trust me, it's a very difficult process. So I have to lay out charts. I have to have all the tracks laid out in front of me. I have to have notes for every track. As much as you see that I've posted as far as the updates go, it's nothing compared to my mix notes. They're crazy. And if it wasn't for the notes, I think I'd go nuts. But thankfully, all that's been fixed. And I don't know why the mic still sounds weird to me. But hopefully it's better. Maybe it's just because it's too loud in my headphone. Maybe that's it. I'll turn it down a little bit. But I hope you can hear me okay out there. And I hope you're not too put off by the sound tonight. But let's play something. So the first thing I had in mind to play is a song that's not on this because it doesn't have to be. This was released. So it's a funny thing to play, but I wanted to play it because I think I've been holding it off for 2 weeks. And I've been wanting to play this one again now that I've cut it down some because it was really long. Has to do with a vinyl thing, which we can get into, but not necessarily. But this is the actual Beat of Life mix that we actually had recorded straight to reel, and then pressed to a lacquer. And this was our de facto first 12-inch anything, was this particular track, this particular audio, which is pretty bad already. But it's there to illustrate a point, and we'll get to that point when I come back. Which I don't know if I've mentioned, but tonight's major topic is the different hats I have to wear, why I wear them, why I hate some of them, but how it's an unnecessary evil. That's just the way it is. I'll play this track, And at some point during the stream, I will be minting something, or rather, I have minted something. I will release it to you guys in the Tezosphere. But anyway, I'm getting way ahead of everything. But anyway, here's a song. I'm going to play it. Turn on something. Probably the UFO thing. We'll see. Oh, this is good because it is coming from a tape anyway. Ha, that's so funny to me. So, oh, there we are. Now I feel a little bit better about the sound. Is it sounding better? Oh, no, it's not sounding better because I'm not really here. There we go. I'm back. You'd think I would get this down by now. But I've got to tell you why I have so much trouble switching things. So, number one, I have two settings that I have to work with. One was to have the microphone, this particular microphone, set up in case this last week I had to run any quick vocal things that, a mistake I might have missed or something that might have happened, which in reality actually happened. I found, well, we'll get into that. First, let's answer some of these questions. So, 1986, I recorded this directly to a 12-inch. Two of my friends said, please don't do it. It's not ready. None of this stuff is ready. And I just was like, are you kidding? We have a chance to record a lacquer for $50. I'm doing it. And the gamble was that I would take this 12-inch, take it to some clubs, and we would get gigs. The gamble paid off, and I pressed 2 copies. And so there's 2 copies of this floating around in the world as a 12-inch. Probably the worst 12-inch these people have ever heard in their lives. Because if you think that song is bad, or that version of it is bad, the flip side's even worse. I can't even play that song anymore. Like, it's the one song, like, it'll drive me crazy if I listen to it. So God knows if I find the WAV files, I'll delete them before I die. Those are like just not to be heard. But unfortunately, somebody has, 2 people have that 12-inch and that horrible B-side. But so why am I bringing this up? So today I was mixing Heaven, which is a song that basically has been on our set since probably our second gig. On and off, it's been in our set. And it's one of those songs that everybody liked. And it was one of those songs that, along with Living in Oblivion, everyone thought was like, that could be a hit. That could be a hit. And even when we moved to California and we met, like, our future record company and, management and all that, everyone said that that song was a single. So the question is, why was it not recorded before Beat of Life? And why wasn't it put on Worth? And the answer to that, or Peace for that matter, and I've addressed this question before, but in this instance, you have to kind of understand it. So I'm going to rephrase the answer to that question that people always ask me about this song. Well, the idea was that by the time we got to the second album, we would have 2 singles. We would have Beat of Life, hopefully, and Heaven, because that's all we really had for the next album while we were working on Peace. Getting my own albums mixed up here. So it was the idea, we'll hold these off and then we'll record them. But of course, as time went on, we wrote newer ones. The newer ones always take priority over the old ones. That's just how it is. The newer thing that you're working on is always your favorite. So both those songs basically weren't going to be on Worth. And the only reason that Beat of Life was ever on Worth, if you really want to know, is that when we were in Berlin and we had the album almost all done, we got a visit from the record company and they were like, I'm not hearing any singles. And we thought Soldier and Child and, Decades, World Without Love, we thought those were the singles. So we were like, what are you talking about? We have three, at least three. Release World Without Love as a single. You'll see, and they wouldn't do it. They're like, no, we need a single. I need something fast. I need something danceable. So basically, I had a choice in my back pocket, either Beat of Life or Heaven. And as it turned out, I hadn't sequenced Heaven at all. I had nothing on it. So I decided, well, Beat of Life. I did the demo in Berlin, a quick demo, and they heard it. And he's like, yeah, I remember this song from the old demos. Yes, that song. We'll put that song out first. That'll be the single. And that killed Heaven for Worth. And so it never came out. We stopped playing the song because obviously it was like one of those like, well, we're not going to play a song we don't have out. So we stopped playing it. Then years would go by. And out of the blue, I think I remember telling Danya, I think it was 2012. I think I want to do Heaven again. And we started working on it right before Distances happened. And once again, it's not that it wasn't good enough. It's just that I was working on a completely different record. It wouldn't fit on that record. And so once again, this song that's been in our set, people request it, people like it, just never, ever got released. So then comes the pandemic. And I start playing the demos, and people like the song again. Like, they like the demo of it. Like, oh, we like that demo. And I've done it live here on the stream a couple of times too. And so that was the catalyst of, I think it's time to get this one done. And there's a couple others that fit that bill with almost the same problem. And so I decided I would tackle them. And there's about 10 songs in total, but I've broken it up into 2 EPs because I don't want to work on something so long that it takes a long time to release it. So I'm going to release it in two EPs. So Heaven's on this next one, and so that's good. And I'm glad. I'm glad that it's finally going to do something. So tonight, before the night is through, I'll play some snippets of the mixes as they're happening. I won't play the full track because I want to keep mystery, but I will play a few of them and we'll explain, whatever. So here's a song, or I'm going to play a song, I guess. Yes, I'm going to play a song. I've talked long enough that I should play a song. But hold on. I want to read your comments here. Ira says, I hate that you had to pander to people that had no clue what they were talking about. Well, you're right. Or I thank you for that, Ira. And at the same time, I understand that on a certain level, we weren't technically ready. We didn't become technically ready to really speak our minds until we got to Berlin. Then things changed. And then when we came back, I feel like then I was armed. I was armed to do stuff. So, but I'm being honest. I would have been happy to just do songs on straight to 2-inch tape and just release them. That's kind of like the way I am now. So I would have done it. But do you dance? But yeah. So anyway, so that's what happened. And these songs, they just kept getting lost in the shuffle. And of course, I've written new ones even this year, and that are now among my favorites. And I'm like, well, I could work on these new ones and not do this right now. So it's been hard to have the discipline to go back into that space and be in that space, really enjoy it, Sorry, I'm always fixing shit in this room. So yeah, so basically that's what happened. So originally, I was going to redo this song as well. And I forgot to tell you something else about Heaven that's interesting. Heaven was one of the first songs that we actually sent to radio and it actually got on some college radio. So, and they were like, "Do you have a better recording of this song? Because it's a hit." And I was like, "Oh man, we don't, and we didn't have the means to record back then. Everything we did was straight to a quarter-inch reel to reel, and I mean straight." So it was a lot like the 1950s Elvis days, man. We had to kind of stand around and hope for the best that, you know, that everything worked out. It wasn't like we could double track or do any of that. So anyway, feel free to ask me questions. I'm going to play the song or a song that did not make this EP because I tried to go back into it and kind of redo it. I wanted it to have the same feeling, but I just couldn't get into it. So who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, this song will resurface as something. But for now, I'm going to play it. It's a demo, straight to reel to reel. It's not forever. And who knows? Maybe it's not.
You were my friend so long ago. Time is at hand. Now I must go. My train is almost here. My visit was short. I've gotten quite old, as you can see. Life has been kind, at least I have that. All through the years, I thought about you all. Yes, I'm leaving, but it's not forever. Yes, I'm leaving, but it's not forever. I've got to feel the pleasure and fear. I've got to see new faces to love. I've got to live the way that I must. I've got to love the people that I trust.
Yeah, that's all I've got of that song. So I tried to get into it to resequence it, and it was just impossible. Like, I couldn't get into it. So I suppose that the reason some of these other ones I've been able to get into them is because I've done them live, and I do them live to this day. Like there's some of these that I still keep playing. So I guess one thing I would be able to try um, would be to resequence this in some form or other, play it out a couple of times, and get into the mood of practicing it. And then maybe I could re-record it. But as it stands, I couldn't. I tried. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get into it, which is a shame because I do love the song. But if my darned VCR cooperates, I think I have a better version video. So maybe I'll find that and we'll have to transfer it or something. So I've asked this question, which was, how many hats does one have to wear if you're an independent? And from the start, I think I've worn several hats. Although in the beginning, I didn't wear the marketing hat. I let Mikey do that. I kind of stayed out of that part, except for like designing flyers and stuff. But other than that, I wasn't really involved in it. That came later, when I had to kind of focus on like the way things looked and why, like, what ads were going to be put out, especially when we were on Epic and I realized they wanted us to be a pop group and I didn't want to be a pop group. So that's when I took more interest in it. And then when I became independent, Danya and I had to wear the marketing hats. And so we would have our little meetings, about marketing, which is like probably like the worst thing you can do when you're trying to write music, because you're not thinking about marketing. You don't want to think about marketing. But you have to. And so that's a hat that sometimes I wear that I'm not crazy about. So it's almost like if I could have gotten away with not doing interviews, I probably would have. Although I enjoyed them when they happen, but I don't like trying to get them. So like me trying to like push to get interviews, I won't do it. So that's a hat that I kind of relinquished in recent years. So if you're ever wondering why I'm not in any magazines, it's because I have no team to reach out to them, and I won't. So if they want to interview me, they have to come to me, and then I gladly accept. But it's always like one of these weird things where I just don't seek them out because I don't know what I don't know. I never think of those things. And as for booking agents, because someone I think mentioned it right now. Let me see. What are you saying? Booking agent too. Yeah. Mikey used to handle all the booking stuff too. He would tell me what gigs we had, which is kind of funny. Fast forward into like, the 2000s and the late 1990s. Even then, and even now, I still don't do that. I still don't do booking of shows. Very rare that I get into it. I'll get into some of the details because obviously the details will affect me, like what flight am I going to take? Where am I staying? Or, how am I getting there? Like these things, yes. But me negotiating and doing stuff like that, I don't do it. That's a hat I don't like to wear. And I loathe it, actually. It's one of those hats I actually loathe. So, I think I've answered that question. But so yeah, comic strips are more interesting. That's funny. So I don't know what that's in reference to, but so yeah, you have to wear all these different hats, and if it's a creative hat, I'm all over it. If it's the designing of something, or like, let's design a poster, or let's design a shirt, merch stuff. Oh, I love designing stuff. So I'll definitely get into that. That's something that I love doing. But when it comes to everything else, man, I'm like the worst. So in time, hopefully, you know, certain aspects of my social and all that stuff might not be handled 100% by me. But obviously on the social media stuff, it's a little different. I don't mind doing it as much because it's more personal and I can just be myself. If I had to play a persona or a facade of myself, I wouldn't like it. So it's one of those things. I just don't like wearing certain hats. But anyway, getting back to the music parts. So some of the hats that I do like wearing are, I love my mastering hat. I love mastering. I never thought I would like mastering, but I started to like it around, I would say, Hope era, when we had the Hope album mastered. I think that was the first time that I sat next to a mastering engineer for the very first time and really watched what he was doing. And his name was Doug, and it was for a mastering house called Digital Brothers. I'm trying to refresh my memory here, because these are stories I'm going to have to pull out of a hat later when I start thinking about Hope's 30th year anniversary. Oh my God, it's been that long. Jesus. But, oh, thank you. I do hope to come back to San Antonio next year. But, so, you know, the mastering hat, it came on around Hope time. Doug Doyle, or Boyle? Doug Boyle? Doug Doyle. Doug Doyle. He was so cool because I would ask him all these different questions, you know, like, what are you listening for? What is it that you're doing? Why is that working versus this? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And I would ask him all these questions. And I had come armed. A lot of the connected things that are in Hope, I came in with notes and said, can you make this song so that this goes into this? And he says, like, you mean a crossfade? I'm like, yeah, that's what that's called. Awesome. Yes, I need one. Here, 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 and here. Poor soul. He should have gotten I think he should have gotten a co-production credit just for that aspect of it, because it took a lot longer than it should have. But it was when I was starting to assert that side of it. You know, I had already done the engineering side because, for better or worse, I was able to record and engineer Hope. So I took on the recordist job early on in the group, and I've been doing that ever since. Although some would say I got worse, but who knows? I don't care. But maybe I did get worse. Who knows? But it was funny. Which, you mean this one? Are you talking about this doll? My alien baby doll? So, because someone on YouTube brought it up, I'm going to have to show her again. This creepy doll is a gift from my sister to me, and she's holding aliens. Look. Focus, camera. It refuses to focus on the aliens, but they're there. Yeah. We'll put some robots next to her. Maybe that won't freak you out as much. But yeah, so around Hope time, I got into the engineering side of things, and then I had to wear the engineering hat, which has its good stuff and it has its bad stuff. Someday, I'd love to have an engineering assistant. That would be amazing if I could have an engineering assistant. And it basically would entail all the cleanup bits, like, you know, high pass things that need to be high pass, low pass things that it's, you know, that need to be, no, it's not Danya. Low pass things that need to be low passed, you know, fix problematic areas before I get to it. I love setting levels. I love doing EQ, and I love, you know, like figuring out panning and all that stuff. But there is a tediousness to that part that borders on the not so fun. So that's where I've been this week, wearing that hat. And I was surprised actually, that I did it pretty good. Meaning that I did everything the way that I feel that I've grown into it. I made charts. I sat down with each instrument. I asked it questions. I know you're thinking, what does that have to do with engineering? It does. So, Mr. Bass, what are you trying to do in this song? So, that kind of stuff. And so it's been good. It's been a good journey. And it also informs me if a song has, made the grade, meaning like, do I still like it after I'm mixing this thing? Am I liking where it's going? And these kind of questions come up. And that's how the other song got eliminated, is because there was no way to go forward. I couldn't go forward. So now you know how that works. So the engineering hat. So, oh gosh, you guys are funny. She'd get really mad. She would get really mad if she saw, because she's seen that doll. If she saw that doll and she saw all of you saying like, it looks like Danya, she would get so mad. She'd probably send me an email like, hey, take that doll and turn it around. Dick. Something like that. She would. But anyway, let's play a demo. So I'm going to play a demo from Worth. This is the actual title track to Worth. And the reason I'm playing this song is because this song replaced another song that was supposed to be on Worth that is on this new EP. But you didn't know that, but it did. So this became the title track of the album. So obviously it deserves its spot. But, things happen.
no way home. There's no way home. There's no way home. There's no way home. And so a little boy grows up and asks, what is it worth to us all? What is it worth to us all?
Oh, sorry. Have to remember to turn the volume back up. Oh, Voss was the song. I don't know. So the question is, there's a song that you've played and I like it a lot. Any chance it could see the light of day in a newer version? And the song is Voss. The answer to that question is complex. The reason it's a complex answer is because I can't predict it. I can't predict at what point a song will come back and haunt me a little. It has to haunt me. I know that's a weird answer, but it has to haunt me in some way that I can't get it out of my head. And for some reason, I'm drawn back into it. Because if you think about what has to happen, the instruments have to be recreated. The sequence has to be recreated. The drums would have to be recreated. The vocals re-recorded. And there's a million things that have to happen. And here, let me show you something. Just because I happen to have it in front of me. So, like, just in this book, I think I've dedicated, and you could see it's like just notes and notes and notes. So, just the last 2 days, I think I've put 10 pages of notes on just the mix down of Heaven. And the reason that, like, finding a song from the past, that's very good, Jim. I like that. That was very clever. Lost is das. So if I go back and revisit a song, it's gotta be, there has to be a reason that it like just sticks out in my head. Like, why am I wanting to play this song? Why am I wanting to record it? Why am I like, So I'll tell you one that is interesting. Well, we'll get to it in a minute. But so the short answer is yes, it can happen. The long answer is probably not. Again, the new rule, I have this rule now, and I think it's not a bad rule. I think it's a good rule of thumb. If I can see myself playing the song live, then it'll go through a stage where I'll sequence it. That means I'm somewhat committed to it. Song is sequenced. Now I can play it out live and see how people react to it. If both those things happen, then there's a good chance I'll go to step 3, which is let's record the vocals. And then step 4, let's really get into the production of it and then mix it and so forth. So if that happens, then yeah, but it's tough because it's not like I listen to the old tapes all the time and go, oh, let me redo that one. I'm going to play that live at, it doesn't really work that way, but I wish, there's some songs I really like. Just unfortunate, which is why I think it's nice when they do resurface so many years later and you're like, I don't know why this song is haunting me right now, but I feel like playing it, So I'm going to play another song. So this song is The Restless Girl, which I think this is the song that Ira was talking about. And was it Ira that was talking about it? I'm already lost. Ooh, Jose says he found a copy of our Dream single. That's funny. Um, TMT Mixes had said if there was a particular song that I had it, that I was going to play or record. And again, same answer, but I happen to have the song with me tonight because I thought I might play it. So I'm going to play that song. And while I'm doing that, I am going to mint tonight's NFT. Or should I do a show and tell first? I should do a show and tell, but we'll do it after the song. So I'll play the song and then I'll do the show and tell and we'll mint. We'll mint on the spot. So, visuals. Oh, is that all we got? There has to be something. Oh, that one's cool. So, yeah, this is my world. Ah, this is my world. The Restless Girl. So, yeah, so that's an example of a song that is on a cassette. We never did anything with it. We never played it live. We never even discussed it after it was played. We would actually right. So like seriously, it was one of those things where we played it amongst ourselves. Like we all had a copy of it on cassette, but because this was by then this is California. But honestly, it was like, what do we do with it? And because it never got further, this is what happens. You just wind up not recording, you know? So it's one of those funny things. So anyway, I'm going to do a couple different things here. I'm trying to figure out, and so I haven't figured this out. So this week, I missed Tezos Tuesday, which is like Taco Tuesdays, but only for Tezos. And I quite like it because it sets up Tuesdays to be an art day. And I totally missed the boat. I didn't release anything because I was so busy that by the time I even thought about minting something, I realized I had nothing really ready. But on and off, I was working on a piece throughout the week. It was sort of like my slash experimentation slash therapy when I was like just couldn't do any more with the mixes because, you know, there's a compression that happens to your ears. If you're an engineer listening, you know what I'm talking about. Your ears start to become compressed after a while and you lose perspective. And then things start to, you know, muck with your brain. And it's like, I thought that was louder and it's not. And you start turning it up. And then, you know, if you were to come back 2 hours later, you're like, wow, I overblew that whole sound. So it's one of those things that becomes very difficult after a few hours. So you kind of have to maximize the amount of time that you spend on the song. Again, this is also wearing a different hat. Almost the hat of the manager coming in to say, you need to take a break. How long have you been listening? Blah, 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 blah. There's no one to really do that. And who could tell me, of course, that my ears are compressed because only I can really know that. So I make certain notes about certain sounds and certain things, and I go back to listen to them. And if for some reason something sounds off 2 or 3 hours later, I know I've hit the wall. So what I do instead is I'll like to take a break, go into the kitchen, prepare paper or paint, and start painting something. So this week I did a couple abstract pieces that I was working on because those are easy because you just go, you do your thing, you get your emotions out, and then you go back to the song. So these particular abstracts were done when I was trying to get the organization for a song that's on the EP called Nostalgia. And I was trying to get, I don't know what I was trying to do, but the way that I took my break, I started working on abstracts. So, show and tell. So this was the first one, which is pretty bad. Like I wouldn't mint this one, but it's a good starting point. I kind of knew where I was going to go from here. So I'll show you the first rendition. This took basically the breaks that I was taking throughout a 2-day period. So that's the first one. Right. And, you know, I liked it, but I wasn't thinking about minting anything like that. But this one wound up being something very different. And I spent a lot more time on it in the later parts of the evening when I was done with the song and I was thinking about things. So this one, although it's much less complex than the first, kind of had an air about it. So I thought I would mint it tonight. So here is the actual physical piece, so you know it exists. So it's very real. And it's very textury. Like if you would like touching this thing. Like you can feel the coffee and all the grimy bits that are on there. It's very interesting. So that's the one I'm going to mint. So look, there is the link, and I'll even show you what it looks like. It looks like this when it will be minted, or I think so. Here it is. There it is on object.com, and it's ready to go up. So what I'm going to do is I'll play, right? Screenshot. It's okay. Screenshots don't count because I have something planned for those that own this. Screenshots can't get that. So, because this particular piece came about, sorry, I left the screen. I didn't mean to do that. Because I left, because I kept taking breaks and going back and forth between this particular song. This one, I think I'll play half of, because I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play half of the way Nostalgia turned out. And while I do that, I'm going to go mint this, and then you can grab it. So I'm going to play Nostalgia, the new one, but not the whole thing. Okay? Like I said, these will be snippets. So I'm going to put on the moon. Oh my God, I'm so unprepared for tonight. I'm going to put on the moon, and I'm going to play the Nostalgia mix that I wound up liking the best so far. Unmastered. Just a snippet, because they're unmastered mixes. They're just my mixes. So, but I'll play you a few of the ones that I've done this week. But there's some cool stuff that like you'll appreciate later why I didn't play the whole thing. So I just minted it so you can have it. It's well, it's not free. Nothing's free anymore, or everything's free. I don't know. I don't know how to approach that. But 2 Tezos can't be too bad. But yeah, so it's minted, and it should show up shortly. So do your stuff. Oh, interwebs. But so yeah, so what's going to happen? Oh, thank you, Stephen. I like that assessment. Thank you. So here's a funny thing. So here's how this works. So, for example, that's a song that I've always liked, and I always wanted to play it live, and we never did it. And then I would bring it up, and they're like, "No, it's too slow because it's 108. It's not, can you make it faster?" But it doesn't work faster. It's not meant to be. So finally, I think it was 2020, I put it out, and I put it out as it was on tape. It's on Bandcamp, so you can get it on Bandcamp. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. I love coffee. So yeah, so it was one of those things where I went back to it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to work on it. I'm going to play it at some point, especially now, because now there's no rules and I can decide if I play something or not. So I'm going to play that song at some point. And so as that happened, I got drawn back into the mix, and then I did vocals, and I did a lot of weird backing vocals and things. So, you didn't get to hear all those yet, but they're there. So I feel, oh, thank you, Jose. So thank you for that super sticker. And thank you for the super chat, Ira, and anyone else who did it. I am always late to the game, so if I don't see it, it's like I always find it later. But thank you so much for the super chats and the coffees and all that stuff. It's really awesome. It does give me a little bit of a boost to kind of keep going, so that's a good thing. And I guess now is a good time to say subscribe and all that cool stuff, since I'm not a YouTuber and I don't know how to do this right. So, but anyway, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. So yeah, I as I was mixing, things would happen. And so one mix that I'm going to play for you tonight is the song that Worth replaced. So I mentioned that earlier, and I'm coming back to that part of the story. So the analytical hat, which is when you have to analyze certain bits of information and kind of figure things out. We didn't really have a working title track for Worth for a while. And I had written this song called In Your Smile. And I think, I'm saying I think, because this is one of those things I would have to verify with Donnie and Paul, because I couldn't find any reference to it. But I'm pretty sure that that was probably the working title of the album at one point. And then Worth got written, and it was decided on the spot, this is the direction. It's going in that direction. But I feel like the song in question could have done well on that record. And it was one of those things. We held it off with the intention of, let's play it out. And then if it sounds good, we'll add it to the album. But sure enough, we wound up going to Germany, no gigs. And so therefore, this is what happens. You mess up. So I'm going to play a little bit of the mix of In Your Smile as it's turning out. So you can hear that too. So that's what our show and tell for the evening. So this is In Your Smile, the unmastered mix.
Feel the sun outside the
That's all we got. Sorry. I want to keep the mystery around them because I don't want you to hear the subtleties and all that stuff too soon. And then what I saw the other night, which was kind of funny, and so I'm not mad about this whatsoever. So don't take this as me being mad about it. But I saw a song on YouTube that was a demo of something, and I was like, how did they get that? And I realized I played it on the stream, and then someone made a video of it. So obviously, I wouldn't want that to happen with stuff that's new and unreleased that I don't want out too early. So yeah, I can't do it. But I see that you guys have some questions about object.com and all that stuff. So understand something. When you do a transaction, this is good. This is a good learning thing for the NFT people that are new. When you do a transaction with your wallet, once you get the little message that says the transaction was successful, you're good. It just means that now the blockchain has to validate the transaction. Once that transaction's validated, which if it's successful, it usually means you're going to get it. And you just check back about 5 or 6 minutes and it'll show up. Conversely, make sure that if you get an error message that it's because you are actually signed into your wallet. You need to sign out of your wallet and sign into your wallet. You know, that's something that I always have to do before I do the transactions. If I haven't been on my wallet or if I left the browser open for too long, there's times where the wallet will time out and give you an error message. So that's another way of so sign in, look for the little green thing, and then, when it says successful, and then just be patient. It takes about 5 or 6 minutes, but you'll get it. So now I see. Claudio's saying it's showing up on my collection. Yeah. They show up immediately. Sending Me Love says they show up immediately on object, but take a minute on autonomy. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer on certain, it's the blockchain. It's not instantaneous. But what it is permanent. So I think, well, look at it this way. Even if you don't get the NFT stuff, and you just want to buy merch, that's cool. I don't mind. But I'm going to tell you, man, there's some interesting things that happen in this world that I'm still so excited about. That is yet to be explored. And so, that's another hat that I like to wear. My artist and my R&D hat. That's the other hat that I want to talk about. My R&D hat is notorious. That's the hat that I put on when I'm going to research a subject and I am going to go deep. I literally cannot hire anyone to do that for me because if you ever watched me do it, I think it would drive someone crazy. I will go down every available rabbit hole there is with a rope, but I will find all the oddball things that nobody's expecting to find, and immediately I'm already starting to deconstruct it. Like, this is just my personality. I will deconstruct it like backwards. Like, what could I do with this that can't be done in any other way? Or it doesn't let me do this certain thing, but I want it to do this certain thing. How could I go around it? So I'll do this R&D hat thing, which is like horrendous, but it's fun. It works. So that's a hat I won't give up. That hat stays on. And now I'm going to have the NFT hat on top of all the other hats. But I kind of think of the NFT hat as part of my photography, design, painting thing. So, anywho. My friends. It's almost time. So let's see. I'm going to play a song that would technically be considered a song. Well, it's an instrumental, but it's a song that would have been on Hope. So I get these questions sometimes, were there any Hope demos? And there are Hope demos, but not of the songs you know, meaning you're not going to find a Answer Me demo because we worked on the song from beginning to end, so there was no demo. But in the course of recording the record, we wrote some other things that we demoed, and some of those I still have. So this one, it's a funny one, but I still like it. It's called Make Your Own Song. The idea was, it's an instrumental. Someone could take it and make their own lyrics to it. That was literally the idea. And this was going to be on Hope, and it wound up not being on Hope. So I'm going to play that for you, and then I'll come back. me reaching down to find the volume control. Well, thank you. Thank you for the comments and things. I just want to mention this because I'm obviously reading the chats as we're playing the music. So, and sometimes I don't know how the video will turn out, if it'll show up with the chats or not, because depending if we get any problem with the interwebs, I may have to re-upload. So a bunch of different technicalities that mean nothing. But I love some of the comments I'm getting on the chat where some of the NFTs that people have collected are already getting offers on the secondary market. And I think that's awesome. And I think that some of you, when I offer some of those freebie ones, you should grab one or two of them and then take those offers, because then you have Tezos to buy other things. So I think that's awesome. Wow. So you've got a couple of them there. That's really awesome. And I want to address something else. So Emilio brought up BSV NFTs. For those that don't know what BSV is, it basically stands for Bitoshi. I was thinking of something else. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, which is basically Craig Wright, who claims to be Satoshi. I'm not 100% agreeing on that, but he claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and he's running a chain which is basically a Bitcoin chain. And those NFTs are stored on chain. And we talked about this before a long time ago, where the NFTs that are in your wallet, even Tezos, the NFT is not technically in your wallet. What's in your wallet is actually the contract and the receipt. So if the internet were to disappear, the general idea is that all files would be lost, right? Well, yes and no. After doing some quick R&Ding on this particular subject, I've come to a conclusion. So this is just my opinion. This is my conclusion opinion. So while BSV is on chain, the chain itself could disappear. And if the chain disappears, basically, there goes the file. So there's a couple of different criterias to this. So I'm going to share with you what mine are when I buy NFTs. What I care about is the certificate. The certificate is basically the provenance of the art itself. So as long as the file, as you have the file, and so long as that chain can be rebuilt, you're not going to lose anything. So yes, I would definitely go where the file is stored, which is IPFS, which is the Interplanetary File System. And I would definitely, oh, sorry, Emilio. I didn't realize you're working at VMAs. Yes. No worries, man. We need to talk. We need to chat. So call me this weekend. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with Emilio here. I agree that on-chain is better. However, there's only really one chain doing that, and that's BSV. And the chain itself, when I look at the stuff that's being, released on that chain, it's not as artful. And it doesn't have the community that Tezos has. So although Tezos is technically on the cloud versus on chain, I'm enamored with the entire community. I don't know how to explain it. It's where the real art is. I'm not saying that there's no real art anywhere else. There's great art on Solana. There's great art on Bitcoin. There's great art on all these different chains. There is. But there's something really special about Tezos. And I can't get over it. I never, ever, ever find better art than I do on Tezos. And look, right now, I'm saving up my little tezos to buy some pieces that I've seen that I might make offers on that are quite expensive, but I like them as art. And I like that there's hidden functions that have yet to be explored on the Tezos chain. So I have to admit, it is my favorite chain at the moment. It is totally my favorite chain for art. If you're an art lover, just spend some time on object.com and you'll get hooked. It's amazing. It's amazing the stuff that you can get. But to your point, to another point that somebody made, that they're like, yeah, but I want physical things. You can always get prints. You can always do stuff like that too, if you want to support me, because I have a print shop. And so, so yeah, there you go, Emilio. So as long as you own the hash, you own the actual thing. So if you have, I would still back up your NFTs anyway, whether they're on chain or not. I would back them up as files, just because you never know what could happen. So, but to reiterate, let's say that you grab the file and you're storing it on your own computer. That's fine. That's totally okay. That doesn't make it any less valuable because you have the hash transaction that proves that that particular file is yours and that you made a transaction directly with the artist, me, and we came to an arrangement. And so on that level, I'm not as worried about on-chain versus off-chain at the moment. Of course, things could change where, if the actual Bitcoin chain starts doing it, that could be something I would do. I've done some stuff on BSV, but I'm not sure I'm going to continue yet. But I'm exploring all my options. So anyway, I'm going to play you one snippet before we call it quits, and then we'll end up with some other song. I want to play you the snippet of Heaven because I quite like how it's turning out thus far. So I'm going to turn on the visuals. We'll play the snippet, and let's do it. Oops. Did I mess up? Heaven is a lonely place in time. Heaven, I've got nowhere to hide. Sorry. That's it. That's all I can play right now. But yeah, so that's Heaven. And it's 2022 version. I'm kind of excited. Oh, and I got to tell you something funny. So I don't know if I should tell you this now. Maybe I should save it for the liner notes. I don't know. All right, I'll give you a hint. So I was working on this today, or this was yesterday, sorry. And the ending has this weird echo thing that happens in the original demo. And I love it on the original demo. And I could not make it work on this mix. So for hours, I was trying to basically find any delay that would recreate this effect. But I realized what happened was in the original demo, it overloads the mic. There's feedback upon feedback, and there's feedback coming from the mic. And it's this weird thing that just happens. And, well, I cheated. I sampled the feedback that came off the original demo at the end, and I fed it back into this 2022 version. So what's really cool is that there's a piece of the 1988 version of the song inside of the new one. But why I think that's funny is that Nostalgia also has a piece of the tape, the original tape, because it was a loop we'd made that I couldn't recreate because I didn't have a split 8 anymore, and all the different gear that I used to make that loop. So thankfully I had this loop, and I decided that I would sample the tape and use it. So in almost all the cases, every song has a piece of the original demo in it in some form or fashion. So I thought that was an interesting thing that was going through all of them. So that's got me excited. So I'm very excited because I only have 2 songs left to mix: Industrial Wasteland and The Pain I Inherited. And I think those are going to be the 2 hardest ones because the amount of vocals. But I'm hoping that I'll have those done this week. Then comes mastering. I already have the design for the thing, so it's sort of like just refinement. And if I'm lucky, I'll get it, at least the digital version, done before the aforementioned birthday happens. I'm hoping that I can get it done before my birthday. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm not promising, but that would be September 6th. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then, while that's out in the world and the limited edition CDs and all that are coming, then I can work on EP number 2, which is also in some weird stage. I haven't revisited it because I didn't want to get sidetracked, but I will be visiting that EP the minute all these mixes are done. And that leads me into a completely different set of songs, which is going to be interesting. So, yeah, exactly. Sending Me Love says, love the vintage samples in the new versions. Thank you. You're going to hear, if you know the demos, you're going to hear some pieces that you're going to be like, those came from the original, which is a tough thing to do because you're trying to match. But so here's a funny thing, because I said it on the chat, but I'll say it again before I play the last song, whatever the last song is. Oh, I know what it is. I got it, I think. But forgot what I was going to tell you. Darn it. Oh yeah, for the synth nerds, for the nerds in the audience. So here's the funny thing. When we made Hope, we had a 24-track mixer. We had pretty good equipment at the time. We had definitely upgraded our studio. But we only had one compressor. And that compressor was on the vocal. And we used those to record the vocals, and that's it. So that compressor was basically used for one sound. So if you think about the Hope album, everything was done by riding faders. We did not use compressors on it at all. Compressors were used on the mastering stage when we took it to the mastering lab to bring out levels and things, but there was actually no compressors used on that whole record. And so what I did with these mixes that is kind of interesting is I decided I was going to avoid compression as much as possible to keep dynamics not strictly controlled so that certain things would pop out more than others and so that certain dynamics would get unruly because I liked that effect. And obviously I can control levels with automation. So I can say when this part happens, lower this, when it's over, rise it. But what's kind of cool is to almost apply that as human compression. Where do I want this unruly bit to end? And can I leave it? So a lot of that is kind of like what I've been doing. And I've been quite enjoying it. That doesn't mean I didn't use any compression. I'd be lying if I said that. But I kept it to a minimum. So on the master bus, none of these songs had compression or EQ. I'll do it when mastering stage happens, probably, to tame certain things. But for the most part, I kept all the dynamics because I basically want it so that when you turn it up, it blows out all your speakers. So you can actually turn these up and shake windows and shit. So we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, I'm going to let you go now because it's time. And I hope you had fun. Not the usual thing, I suppose. Maybe next week, if I'm done with all the mixing. Well, let me tell you why this is a big deal. Because it's a big deal. I digress. If all goes well, next week's stream will just be a live session where I just basically practice. The only reason I didn't do that today, or why I'm not doing that more recently, is because this mic is the vocal mic that I was using to record. And in case there's a line that needs to be fixed last minute or something just sticks out in a bad way that has to be re-recorded, I don't want to lose my settings. I want to make sure that I can come in seamlessly back in, or as seamless as possible, and fix it. And I know how things work. The minute you swap out the mic, that's when you discover there's a major problem and you have to so that's why I didn't do like a live thing this week. But I may do it next week. If I get further along, then next week will be a practice session. And I'll just practice on screen or on the stream. I'll already be on a screen. I'll be on a screen, I said. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be good to one another. I'm going to leave you with Blue Little Rose, as a matter of fact. And one from the Kulak's Cafe. So this is live. And then I'm out. And here we go. Blue Little Rose. Good night. You are crying. I am trying to let you know that I love you so. Sweet little rose. Let your petals sway
It's a short song.
I'm part of it. Can't you see it?